The air in the briefing room was thick, not with desert heat, but with the sterile chill of a warship's air conditioning and silent focus. Lieutenant Commander Elias Thorne stood before his squadron, the Thunderbolts, their faces illuminated by the pale blue glow of the tactical display. The mission profile was complex, a surgical strike at the heart of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, missile capabilities along the Iranian coast. Outside, on the deck of the USS Gerald R. Ford, the flight deck crew prepped their F/A-18 Super Hornets. The seventh night of airstrikes was about to begin. Elias's target was not just any mobile launcher, it was a hardened coastal defense battery, a no-go zone that had proven elusive for 6 consecutive nights. He could feel the weight of expectation. If they failed to neutralize this threat, the maritime blockade would remain vulnerable, and the possibility of a ground incursion would increase exponentially. As the catapult hurled his Super Hornet into the ink-black sky, Elias felt the brutal hand of G-force press him into his seat. The transition from the chaotic, light-flooded deck to the silent, dark void above the Gulf was instantaneous. Around him, his wingmen formed up, their jets spectral shapes against the stars, running dark with minimal electronic emissions. Minutes later, they crossed the Iranian coastline. The calm was deceptive. Below, the target zone was a landscape of rugged, ancient mountains and deep ravines, illuminated only by the faint, eerie glow of persistent fires from previous night's strikes. Elias dialed in his targeting pod, scanning the coordinates for the elusive missile battery. Then, the world erupted. The ground-based radar warning screamed in his headset. A surface-to-air missile, a bright, lethal streak of orange, ripped through the darkness, aimed directly at his wingman. Elias sparked an evasive command, banking his jet sharply. The SAM exploded just above them, a magnificent, terrifying burst of white phosphorus that painted the sky, but they had dodged the lethal fragment cloud. Their cover was blown. The air defense network was fully awake, and now they were being actively hunted. Red warning lights bathed the cockpit in a bloody hue as radar lock alarms shrieked through Elias's helmet. Down below, the IRGC missile battery wasn't just sitting idle, they were using the diversion of the SAM launch to fire a salvo of anti-ship cruise missiles directly toward the strike group. Elias saw the telltale exhaust plumes ignite from a hidden cove hidden deep within a mountain crevice. Thunderbolt lead to flight, Elias barked, his breathing forced and heavy as he pulled 8GS into a hard break. Target confirmed in Sector 4. They're launching on the fleet. We take out that cave now. With anti-aircraft fire tearing through the sky around them like a curtain of white-hot lead, Elias inverted his jet and dove straight into the teeth of the enemy's air defense envelope. Dropping beneath the radar coverage meant flying dangerously low through the twisting mountain ravines in pitch darkness. Tree branches and rock faces whizzed past his wingtips at 600 knots. He lined up the crosshairs of his targeting display on the dark mouth of the cave. Fox 3, he called out, releasing 2 heavy bunker buster munitions. As the precision-guided bombs detached, a streak of heavy anti-aircraft fire ripped through his port wing, sending a violent shudder through the entire airframe. The cockpit alarm screamed in a deafening chorus as master caution lights flashed red. The hit had torn away part of his port wing's trailing edge, causing the Super Hornet to roll violently into a dangerous tailspin. Below him, the rock walls of the ravine loomed impossibly close in the darkness. Fighting the stick with pure muscle and instinct, Elias slammed the throttles into full afterburner. The jet roared in protest, vibrations rattling his teeth as he barely managed to level the wings, skimming mere feet above the jagged canyon floor. Behind him, a massive, deep earth detonation shook the mountainside. His bunker busters had penetrated deep into the cave, triggering a cataclysmic secondary explosion that collapsed the entire IRGC missile facility in a wall of blinding fire. Thunderbolt lead, you're hit. You're leaking fuel fast, his wingman screamed over the radio. Elias glanced at his displays. Hydraulic pressure was dropping rapidly. Fuel was spewing into the night sky, and the mountain ridge ahead blocked his path back to the ocean. To make matters worse, a second radar-guided SAM system was sweeping the skies, locking onto his crippled aircraft. He had eliminated the primary threat to the fleet, but his jet was dying, trapped deep inside enemy territory with no clear way out. With his hydraulics failing and the jet shuddering violently, Elias refused to eject into enemy hands. He threw the damaged Super Hornet into a desperate, high-G climbing turn, banking hard toward the coastal waters. The crippled jet screamed over the ridge, trail of burning fuel carving a brilliant line through the night sky. Behind him, 2 enemy interceptors popped up on his tactical display, closing in fast to finish off the trailing American bird. Out of weapons and flying a dying aircraft, Elias flipped the master switch to dump his remaining external fuel tanks directly into the path of the pursuers, creating a massive fireball midair that forced the enemy jets to break formation and dodge. Breaching the coastline, the USS Gerald R. Ford appeared as a tiny, welcoming dot on the dark ocean horizon. The carrier's air defense screen immediately painted the pursuing enemy aircraft, sending a barrage of RIM, 116 missiles past Elias's canopy to force the interceptors to turn back. Elias was clear of the mainland, but his fuel gauge was hovering at 0, his engine temp was in the red, and his landing gear was refusing to lock into place. Flying on pure adrenaline and a prayer, he turned the smoking jet toward the carrier's flight deck for a blind, emergency night landing. Elias pulled the emergency gear extension handle, feeling a heavy, metallic thud as the landing gear finally locked into place. The deck of the USS Gerald R. Ford rushed toward him in the darkness, a tiny strip of illuminated steel amidst the vast, black sea. Smoke poured from his port engine, and the controls felt sluggish, like trying to steer a boulder through wet cement. "Thunderbolt lead, you are call the ball." The landing signal officer's voice snapped through the radio, crisp and calm despite the tension. "Thunderbolt lead, turtle ball, emergency low fuel." Elias shouted back, adjusting his glide slope by micro-inches. The deck rose violently to meet him. At 200 knots, he slammed the Super Hornet onto the flight deck. The tailhook caught the number 3 arresting wire with a bone-jarring crunch, snapping the 45,000-pound aircraft to a violent, complete stop in less than 200 feet. Fire crews immediately swarmed the smoking jet, dousing the scorched port wing in a blanket of white foam. Elias popped the canopy, coughing as the cool ocean air flushed out the scent of burning hydraulic fluid. He unclipped his mask, his hands trembling slightly as the rush of adrenaline began to fade. Looking up at the starry night, he saw the remaining jets of his squadron circling high above, waiting their turn to land. The coastline of the mainland remained dark, the coastal defense battery destroyed, the strike group protected for another night. He climbed down the ladder onto the deck, exhausted, battered, but alive. The 7th night was over. This mission was a testament to the split-second precision, courage, and nerves of steel required by naval aviators on the front lines. Lieutenant Commander Elias Thorne and his squad risked everything in the pitch-black skies over hostile territory to protect the fleet and secure the seas. Friends, if you enjoyed this intense story and want to support the channel, hit the like button, thumbs up under this video. It really means a lot. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you never miss new thrilling episodes and stay updated. Save this video to your playlists open by folder so you don't lose it in the future. Your support helps the author keep working hard and creating even more high-quality content for you.